today I'm going to take apart this G36. Looks like it's been pretty used. A lot of tape and so forth that's been applied, it looks like, in several places. It's an H&K, which looks like to be a G36 CV. So this isn't really made by the Aries company, but some of the parts are going to be pretty much a copy, but lower quality of the Aries kind of rifle for this. So I believe there will be a micro switch in here. I have no idea what is wrong with this gun because I have not been told. You just said please look at this. So opening up the charging handle here, I don't really see any issues, so I guess we'll just go ahead and start taking it apart. The only issue I did find on the outside and the exterior right here of the magazine area, there's a wire that's getting pretty clipped, but it doesn't look like that would stop this from working. So let's go ahead and open her up. There's a lot of rust on this thing too. Number one thing I don't like is Tamiya connectors. These seem to be in okay shape, but I definitely do not like these. Everything's tight there, that's good. Alright, so let's go ahead and open the back. And I think this thing's been played in the rain because it's got its rust on it. So wire's clipped right here, but looks like a lot of the threads are still being used. We can see the micro switch right here. I don't see a problem there. Hop-up chamber doesn't seem to be all the way back. And it looks like to me that we might have some blowback here. This spring's a little short. I'm not used to that. It's a little longer than I'm used to. Okay, now we get that. And here's the gearbox. We can see an issue right here. It looks like somebody tried to resolder this themselves. Maybe applied some, I don't know, super glue. That looks like a really bad try. I believe that is super glue right there. So, just to kind of show it again, get a little closer. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like that. Because now it has to be removed. It seems to be super glue. I don't think it's flux. Because it's nice and dry and it looks like epoxy or super glue. But, you know, you could have some really bad resistance there for the wire to connect to the micro switch. Alright, so let's check up the hop-up unit right here. It's not completely straight on the bucking, which is the... Let's see here. Last time I did this, I don't remember which way you have to twist, but you push in and you twist. And it's not letting me do that. Is this different than I'm used to? No, it should not be different. Let's go ahead and pull this out. Yeah, I can't move that at all. I'm going to have to undo this. Well, I'll have to do that off video, but the bucking is definitely not straight because the nub inside is pushing to one side too much. Alright, let's look at this thing. Oh, come on. Screws to the plate are missing. Only got one screw right there. That kind of makes it really frustrating for me. And this screw is very, very loose. It's in there, but it's very, very loose, which usually means to me it's not the same screw, or we have really bad threading. don't see an issue right there, but let's go ahead and pull it out. To pull it out, pop this pin out of the way. And I believe that's everything right there. So you move the selectors up to full auto. Actually move to semi first because you need to clear this side. And while I'm doing this, this looks like this probably already been opened. I see screws that look different than what I'm used to. This one's different than this one. This screw is not screwed in all the way. So I think someone has already been into this thing. I also think I see a crack in the gearbox. That's even worse, if that's for real. So let's go ahead and pull this open here. Okay, another thing I'm not used to right away is no shrink wrap. There's no shrink wrap here. The motor doesn't look to be in too bad of shape. This side's kind of rusted over this side on the screws. Got one screw here that's really red. We've got some kind of different bushing here. Got a bearing, a different bushing. So we've got a combination here. On the opposite side, these look like the same kind of bushings with a different bearing. So the bushing seems to have been replaced. We've got a bushing it looks like this is super glue right here. Again, more glue. Also got something here that came up. I'm not sure what. That's interesting. Like as if it was, you know, smashed together trying to put it in the receiver, and it didn't fit, so they just kept doing that. I've also got some strip screws right here. So this thing has definitely been taken apart, changed up, and messed with. Alright, so first things first, we've got our own anti-reversal latch right here. We're going to go ahead and pull that. And then at the same time we're going to check it. Let's see where the piston head is. Okay, so everything is good there. Go ahead and undo. So I got kind of, it's just easier when there is an anti-reversal latch. That, you know, has a quick button like this one does. Okay, one of these is usually longer than the other. And it is. Okay, I know which way those go, so it doesn't matter. Put those off to the side and just start to get into this thing. Now I've got an easy swap spring in the back here, or I can just take it off pretty easily. So I'm going to do that. There's supposed to be little washers here too. I don't see any. Especially this screw is totally different, just to show how different they are. That's very, very much so different. So we've got a screw that's metric and the other one isn't even close. And it's just jammed in here. So right now I'm not looking too happy because I don't like when people do tech work and then they don't include the same screws that are supposed to be there. You break these threads and that really gets to be a pain. Before I start undoing the last of the screws here, I can see there's some type of piston in here that's not the same as what I'm used to. So yes, 100% someone has been in this thing. Go ahead and undo the back here. And even this screw has rust on it. Okay, I need a hex. I believe it's this one. Undo the back. And this is a very, very weak spring. Not only that, it seems to be glued to the spring guide. I'm not kidding. This thing is glued to the spring guide. That's a no-no. You're not supposed to do that. Even just a washer or something in the back to help this thing turn. The other thing is it's so freaking short. And look at this. This is not a stock spring. I've never seen this short inside the gearbox for this gearbox. I mean, it doesn't come like that. So, no there too. Go ahead and take the rest of this off, and I won't be, I won't be surprised by this point. We're going to find some issues inside. Start to maybe find some different screws again. Let's see here. I bet you, yep, it's not even there. We don't even have the plastic piece here for the blowback. There's no bolt for the blowback either, so there's no blowback on this thing. Does it allow it? Yes, it's right there. So that's missing from this. This screw comes out way too easily. Same screw. Threads are probably messed up now. Way too easily. I really think these threads are messed up. Go ahead and pull that off. We still have the spring here. It looks like some super glue seeped in here when somebody was doing some super glue. Put those parts aside. This is in there. Seems to be okay for now. And this is the spring to the selector. Alright, now go ahead and lift up. And this looks like a really bad job. I am not joking. I don't know what goes through my head when I see something like this. Just shocked. First off, I don't see any grease whatsoever. This gun looks like it was put back together and not really used. Maybe shot a couple times, so there's really not anything nasty left in here. The other thing I want to say before I go any further is this is a terrible job on super gluing. Okay, the bushing is not straight, first off, it's crooked. And then second off, it's glued so thick and pushing like as if they didn't have any shims. So we've got this, and I'm not kidding, the bushing should be flat and level, but it's like pushed up with glue underneath it. Let's see if we can show that on camera very well. So right here, this bushing, you can see, and there's just so much glue there. There's a lot of glue. Here's the opposite side. That's absolutely terrible. It's at an angle. It's not in there straight. This other one's at an angle, but these are okay because they're not glued in like that. They can be easily removed. Well, the super glue can be easily removed, but that's a really piss poor job. Absolutely terrible. I was going to check for a crack on the gearbox shell. This is not radiused. These are okay though. These hold up pretty well that I have seen on this G36 stuff. So, or version 3, whatever you want to call it. Let's go ahead and pull the piston out. And first thing about the piston, looks like someone tried to do some angle engagement correcting, and it looks like they did a really poor job. This O-ring seems really shrunk to me. It almost seems to be exactly the same size of the piston head. Almost exactly. So it does seem very, very shrunk to me. We have what looks like to be some grease on this piston. it looks like it was hit very hard by the sector gear, which I probably wouldn't doubt. What I mean by very hard is it just didn't move very well because that spring is not very, first off, it's not very strong at all, and second off, it's too short, so we could have some pre-engagement that can happen, and that's what it kind of looks like. Is some of these teeth got hit a little bit because it's not such a severe setup. Probably didn't do too much damage on that. But it looks like these teeth right here are chopped off way too much on the piston. So we have, which looks like a heavy impact here. There's an imprint there, more than here. That's where the strong spring is supposed to be. So it's supposed to be, it's hitting this more harder because it's just got to pull further. There's an impact mark right here. Which means that it did at one time hit there. Or it's trying to stretch and grab it. It's trying to stretch and grab it, and it's just not getting it very well. It sounds like we've got the bearings in there. Let's go ahead and check this thing out. When you install a piston head, you want to make sure that it looks like the bearings were installed correctly this time. Last time they were not. Whoever was inside their gun or whatever. But what you want to do is hear the bearings move. It means that's loose enough to turn. And there was some thread lock used, red. It looks like they spilled it onto the piston head, which I don't have a really big disagreement with. I think that's okay. There it came out. It's a trash can. It's ported. It does look like the thing is cracking though on the piston head. No, I could be wrong. That's just discoloration from like grease or something. Okay. Oh, I was going to see if I could pull the rack out real quick. And this rack is bent down a little bit, but that's okay. It's not too severe. So second tooth is gone, third tooth is almost completely gone, and fourth tooth is I want to say 25% gone, so it's not really good for correction. And I'll bet you it's not even corrected properly. You're supposed to do it with the spring included if you're using Sorbo and what so else. I'm not going to put the bearings in for right now. Okay, so we're going to check angle of engagement real quick here. We also have a chip on the back of the piston head right here. I just noticed that there's a chip. Alright, so I put this in here and it scrapes. That's not good. There's something in the cylinder. You can probably hear that as I go past. I don't know how well you can hear that. Let's go ahead and pop this off. Pull this whole section out real quick. That looks okay. This doesn't have an O-ring on it. There's little pieces of material. That's what that sound is. Yeah, we also got something up there, rubber-like. Not sure what it is yet till I pull this out. It's just more of the rubber material from the cylinder head. You know, this doesn't look right to me at all. So we've got angle engagement corrected on the piston, but it doesn't look like anything was done to the piston head or the cylinder head. So if you're not adding any depth, no matter how hard you're going to push on this, even with a strong spring, this is not going to stretch in. So this is all going to be based on just putting this all the way forward, because there's no sorbethane. So if you do that and you twist this right here, and as you go, this is horrible. You adjusted the angle engagement, but it picks up not even close to 12. We're picking up just factory, and you shouldn't adjust here without having both adjusted. There has to be some kind of depth inside the cylinder to add. This should be back at least this far, maybe a little further, about right there, and it's not. So you have it trying to pick up here, which doesn't make any sense. And not only that, it's how you ruin your piston's teeth and your sector gear's teeth. So this is a no-no, big time. Okay, picking up the sector gear. We don't have any kind of delay clip. Looks like all its teeth are there. This is S&T. That's the company I was trying to think of. There are shims on these parts. Okay, so gears look fine. We've got some kind of spiraling on this spur gear. A little bit too much close shaved by this. That can be fixed though. I don't see any hairline cracks, but I see a lot of me just not being happy with what I'm seeing. So, because I can count the number of issues that need to be applied for fixes here. Let's check the feeding of this thing. I'd rather have grease on my hands than in this black crap. It's not greased. It's just the material wearing down. Alright, the back of the tappet plate's bent as we hit. So how long, question is, let me just take the dang piston out. Question is, how long is the tappet plate all the way back? It's all the way back right here. It may not need any kind of delay added. All the way back. And it may not need, unless it's like a super high speed maybe, but that doesn't look like it needs any type of delay extra. Okay, pull this thing out, and I can't even pull it out. It is super glued in place, so that's a big no-no also. Transversal latch, straight. This looks fine. Let's check the pinion on the motor. It also looks fine. It's a T-type pinion. It is not even secured to the motor. Notice how, if you just be, curious, and just grab grab things, you notice issues. Try grabbing your wires. Try filling them. Oh, this looks too tight here. You know, pushing down on your brushes. Just trying to do things. You notice something like this. This is serious. Come on, how are you gonna cycle your gearbox and this isn't even secured at all to your pinion's not even secured. I'm not even gonna look at the shimming on this thing. It's got to be terrible considering this bushing right here. So that's unacceptable. Unacceptable, unacceptable, unacceptable. Can this thing be fixed up? Yes. Do I want to do it? Not really. I don't like fixing other people's work. I do it way too often. And what I'm going to say here, you got to remove this spring. It needs to be removed from the spring guide. You need a better spring. I don't know why you would even attempt to use this. That's you guys have to realize that the spring, it's going to get so weak to push the piston. I mean, it's probably only compressed by this much. Really, it's not much at all. So it's going to be really weak as it tries to come forward. And when it hits and recoils back a little bit from the impact, it still has to have time to come forward. So if you were to use LiPo on this, you probably would have broke this thing to heck and back, but he didn't use a LiPo on it. Let's check the cutoff lever. I'm just trying to think of other things to check and I'm not too happy. Alright, so as we go around here, cutoff lever goes up, very, very slight, pull forward. It looks like it would work for the trigger. It's very, very slight. Might need a new cutoff lever. It doesn't go up very high. I don't know why in this gearbox it doesn't, but it does not go up very high on this gearbox. For these Aries and S&T gearboxes, they don't have it go up very high. So a new one can make that go higher. However, it might have to be custom cut for this trolley. Where to start? We have a full ported, full non-ported cylinder with no grease in it. Is it no grease? Well, if there's grease, it's very, very, very slight, but I don't think there is grease. Oh no, there's no grease at all. No grease. No grease on the gears. No grease for the O-rings. This O-ring is really shrunk. There's all kinds of air loss. Even though this O-ring is shrunk, see, look, you can tell how easy it is to move. It should be some kind of friction. See, if I put on one of my O-rings, watch. I'll show you. Pause for a second. Alright, so let's put on one of my O-rings. See, it's so big. It's huge. Okay, put that in here. There's more friction right there. A lot more friction. And that's much better seal. However, we're still losing air around the cylinder head. You need some kind of tape or gasket, but I'd rather use tape. Use the plumber's tape stuff. So the only reason the other one was not that bad on leaking air is because the piston head is almost exactly the same size of the cylinder wall. Look at that. That's a really good made on depth size, but definitely you need this O-ring for a really good compression seal. That's pretty much it. I don't have really anything else I can say. Everything looks good. Otherwise, the crack, maybe it was just the light. Oh, I see it. Okay, it's not a crack. It's an imprint. It's crushed by this part, which I said earlier looked like somehow it was crushed by something. So once it's put in the body, somehow it's getting crushed, and that's what that is. This piece right here should be glued in. It looks like it is. On your G36, if you have this hex piece right here, like the Aries or S&T, this likes to come undone, and what happens is it attaches or touches the tappet plate here, keeping it secured and locked so it can't move. And if it can't move, it's stuck. Chances are you're going to have pre-engagement. I've seen it happen plenty of times. I did a DSG video where I quickly made my G36 into DSG. I knew this was a problem area, and I decided, I think I only used thread lock instead of super glue, and I didn't wait 24 hours just to show that I could make it. Quick video of it. That came undone, and right away when I was using full auto. Then shortly after, when I got a new piston, I just super glued this, really stuck hard, never got pre-engagement again. So that's the issue. I've also seen it before I got pre-engagement, get caught and hold the tappet plate solid down in a position where it's just locked. To explain how it would get pre-engagement, I would think about it like this. The piston's coming backwards, and the only way is if it's stuck where it goes forward and there's a BB stuck in the barrel or in the hop-up area somewhere. But if this is stuck, I'm not exactly sure. It gets caught between the spring, I think here. So what happens is it gets locked down, or it's very slow. And maybe as it's pushing the air, the BB's not in the exact same spot or something. Just take my word for it. I'm just going to have to say that because I'm not going to go too much in depth with it. But there's definitely a lockdown because of that, so you want to be careful of this problem area. What am I going to say? I don't want to work on this thing at all. I don't even want to really touch it, but maybe I will. I don't know. Give me some time to think about it, call some people. It's a little too much work to have to fix someone else's stuff, so I may ask for more money on this. We'll see.